Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Futuristic Approach and yet another interesting topic in Python, that is functions in Python. So I'll directly come to VS Code. So guys, functions is nothing but a group of statement performing a specific task, and these tasks are executed when you call upon that function. So when you write a program, let's say you write 100 and 200 lines of codes and you write one function in the beginning, and then the same function is required to be written in the end also. So you cannot repeat the same function again and again. So for that purpose, what you do, you have functions. So the basic syntax of function is def followed by the name of function. You can give any name. For example, I'll write multiplication, okay, and followed by parenthesis, okay. And what this function will do, that you will write it over here. So for example, I write I'll give a function n. This is an argument you can pass, you can leave it also. So for example, I have made a function multiplication wherein I write print, I'll write 23 into n, okay. So every time you call upon this function n, it will multiply by 23 and then it will return it. So if I have to call this function, I'll simply write multiplication. For example, I write 23, okay. So it will print me, you see, 529, that is 23 into 23 is 529. If I just call upon, let's say I write 1 and here I write 2, and when I run this, you see 2346. So guys, you can call this function any number of times. It is up to you. So whenever you want to call that function, you can utilize this function. So it is basically you are making this function in one go and then utilizing it 10 times, 20 times and n number of times, whichever way you are comfortable with. And that is all about the function, guys. All right. So this was the basic function. Similarly, let's say you want to greet somebody, and you make a function def greet and you write some name and you greet this person and you print good morning followed by name. All right, so I'll give space over here, okay. So now this is a function, greet function, which takes an argument as name and greet that person good morning followed by his name. So if I want to greet, I'll write greet Gaurav, okay. So what it will do, it will good morning Gaurav. So it will print good morning Gaurav, okay. So again, this can be called any number of times. For example, I write good morning Alka and then Savvy, okay. So it will print good morning Gaurav, good morning Alka, good morning Savvy, like that, okay. There is another thing over here, that you can give a default name over here. So instead of writing just name, you write name equals to let's say you give a default name as stranger or anything you want to give, that is up to you, okay. So in this case, what happens if you don't give any argument over here? So if you don't give any argument over here, it will directly print good morning stranger. But if you don't give this stranger over here, you just write name and then you write greet followed by blank, then it will throw an error, you see. So he's saying that missing one required positional argument, whereas you have given none over here. So if you write this stranger and then you write greet, then it will not throw an error. Similarly, you can print greet Samuel, okay. So it will print Samuel, and if nothing is there, then it will print the default one, which is called as stranger. All right guys, so this was about function. You can call it any number of times. So one more example I would like to take. Let's say I have a list of some numbers, let's say 1 2 3 4 or 5, so let's say, okay, and you want to make a sum out of it, so you write sum equals to sum of L, okay, which is a function. You want to make an average out of this, so let's take a bigger number only. So you take 89 80, let's say these are the marks obtained by some of the students out of these 5 subjects, okay, 59 and one more as 80, okay, and you want to take out the average of these marks. So every time you have to write, let's say if you have to take out the average, so I will write average equals to sum of L divided by 400, okay, into 100. So divided by 400 followed by 100, okay. So when I write print average, so it will print me the average of these marks, okay. So it has printed 83.751. I think this is wrong because there are 5 subjects, so I have to keep 500. So now if I calculate, so it is saying 67%. But let's say you have a number of lists wherein you have 100 in number of lists, so every time you cannot write these things, okay. Otherwise, if this sum is a built-in function, that's why you have utilized it. But let's say if it is not a built-in function, then you will write L1 L of 1, then you will write like average equals to you will write like sum of, then L1, then plus L2 plus, and so on, like till L5 and like that. So what happens, the code becomes lengthy, and the chances of making mistakes over here becomes more. And if you keep on writing these kind of code in all your for all your lists, then it will make your code very shabby type. So in order to make it streamlined, you use functions. So instead of writing this, you just make a function. So you write def average, okay, and it takes marks, let's say, okay, and then you define this inside this one. So you write average equals to sum of marks. I just write like this. So you define it for one time. So average equals to sum of marks, okay, sum of marks divided by 400 into 100, okay, I think 500, sorry, and then you write print average, okay. All right, so this is one function, you have defined it. Now I'll just comment it out. Now whenever, let's say you have marks equals to a list 33, 54 and 76. Similarly, you have some, this is marks 1, this is marks 2, this is marks 3. You make some changes, 44 here, 32 here, 31 here, and like that. Let's say these are the marks defined for these marks 3. Now for every time I cannot write those codes, so I had made one function, average function, and I had told that function will take sum of marks into 500 divided 500, and it will multiply it into 100, so it will give me average, and then it will print average. So now when I have to call this function, what I'll write average, okay, average of marks 1, okay, simple. Similarly, I can I'll put average of marks 2, average of marks 3. So you see it has printed me the average 45.8, 47.4, 48.4. So very simple guys. So anytime you can call this function, and let's say you are on a 12th line, you have written this function and you go till some 200 lines away. So there also you can just call this function average. If you have some marks list, you just call this function as average and followed by this marks 1, marks 2, marks 3, whatever the name of the list, and it will print you an average guys. So it is a very beautiful thing that is utilizing the function parts. If you come to the definition of W3 School, is saying that function is a block of code which only runs when it is called, and you can pass the data also. So in last tutorial I told you about the pass function. So if you don't want to designate anything at this particular moment, so you can simply write pass, so it will not throw an error in this. See, it has not thrown an error. If I don't define it, if I don't write pass, and if I don't define the things also, for example, if I just cut this and if I run this, then it will show me an error. It's saying that what is marks 1. So, and if I write just pass, then I'm done. So it will not throw me an error. Alright, so this was all about the pass function guys, which we had seen in the last video also. Similarly, calling a function, I had told you this. Then this function, my def my function f names, and it is printing f name plus this thing. So every time you are calling this particular argument will be added with this thing. So if you just try this, then it will print ml refsnes. Similarly, followed by Tobias, say this, then Linus this. So you see this. All right. So like that you can give a number of parameters. You can have any number of parameters over here. Okay, so but you have to give the argument for that while calling that function. So you can give anything, marks, and for example, in any of the function where we had written some n, or you want to give m, or you want to give x, anything you can give over here. But while calling that function, you have to define that thing in this function, and then while calling that function you have to give the argument, 3 number arguments. So like that, these are the functions guys. All right, so similarly this youngest child kid is, so he's saying that def my function kids and print the youngest child is kid 2. That means this my function, this kid 2. So amongst these 3, this one is kid 0, this is kid 1, kid 2. So if I write kid 1, print kid 1, then it will print the youngest child is Tobias. So any number, any list if I call, so it will just print the value of kid 1 in this case. So kid 0, kid 1, kid 2, you can try it yourself. Like the youngest child is Linus, that is kid 2. If you write it as just kid 0, it will print Emil. The youngest child is Emil. Just see over here. Yes, Emil. All right, you can change the name also if you want to keep your only name, Sammy, let's say, and run it. It will print the youngest child is Sammy. This one is slow guys, so you can use your VS Code in this case. Okay, so just copy paste things, and the most important thing is to understand how function works. So once you understand how function works, this is the same thing which I had told you, that it has given the default name as Norway. So if it doesn't give this Norway as a default, then this particular line will create a problem. That means it will say, it will throw an error. Okay, similarly you can pass a list, and you can use a for loop inside this thing. See, this function is returning 5 into x, so whatever the value of x is there, it will return 5 cross that particular value. So in this case it will return 15, then 25, and then 45. Okay, so whenever you write return guys, so it is just returning it. So if you don't write print, I'll just show you. I'll just copy this code, my VS Code. I'll come, okay, I'll comment these all out. So see, it is returning 5 cross 3. So if I don't write print, let's say, I'll delete all the rest too. So it will not throw me an error, but it will not show me the result. See, it is executing, but it is not showing me the result because it is saying just return it. So it is returning it, but the value you can only say if you write print. And wherever if you write print the value, now if I play, you see 15. Now instead of return, if I write print the value is, and I'll write 5 cross x. Okay, and then I don't have to write this print function, so I'll simply call my func 3, and it will print me 15. The value of, I'm sorry, he's saying that str object is not callable. Okay, I'll have to write str here. I'll have to give a just comma, and it will be done. See, the value is 15. Okay, so def my func x, the parent value is 5 cross x. So guys, this was a very simple functions which we had seen over here, and like that you can go ahead with many examples which are available over here, and you can check yourself how much you have understood. So guys, this was all about the functions guys, and now we will be moving on to the file operations. So how to read a particular file using Python, which is another interesting topic guys. And till the time guys, see you, take care, and I'll see you in next video tomorrow. That's all from my side. I'm signing off.